If I can have your attention, please. We're about to begin the services for Maxine, Max, Goldenberg. We welcome all of you here in person and all of the folks that have joined us online. Just a gentle reminder for those of you present here at the cemetery, if you have a cell phone with you, please place it in the silent mode or turn it off completely. The services will be conducted by Rabbi Sharon Morton and soloist Opal Staples.
We have lost a great one today. This has been a short journey for me, a much longer journey for the family. But Maxine was, with everything that I heard and everything I will share with you, a person that we talk about Colin Powell, and we talk about all the presidents that have died and all the great people in history. She's one of the great people in history. She didn't know quite as many people as those other famous people, but she was famous with the people that she knew, and she was amazing. The first thing we're going to do is called kriya. It means cutting, and it came from a biblical tradition. When Jacob first thought that Joseph had died, he tore his clothes. And now in the Reformed tradition, we don't tear our clothes, but we wear a ribbon, and we tear the ribbon. And now, if the family who has the ribbon. Okay, we begin this service. Please be seated. We begin the service with the prayer, Asa Adonai. O God, I will lift up my eyes to the mountains. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. My friends, we are here today to celebrate the life of Maxine Mameem Goldenberg, who is no longer at our side physically to share the beauty of the passing moment, but she will always be in our minds and in our hearts, because she instilled happiness and strength in all that knew her. She instilled that happiness and strength that will not fade. I want to extend my deepest condolences to her wonderful children, Jimmy, Romi and Jay, and Darci, and to Maxine's siblings, Billy and Marsha, and their chosen ones, Audrey and Mickey, and to her husband, Earl, and to her beloved grandchildren, Charlie and Frankie and Danica, and all the rest of the family and friends who are here. We have all had the privilege of knowing and loving her and being loved by her, and now we all have the obligation of carrying her legacy into future generations by the way you speak, by your deeds, and what you do for others. We will honor her by our attitudes towards others, our acceptance of ourselves, and by our very dispositions as she had. As we do this, she will continue to bless our days and years to come. If Maxine were here, I wonder if she might say this to us. Don't cry for me, because I'm still here. I'm still by your side. My body is gone, but my soul is here, so don't shed another tear. I'm all around, only my body is in the ground. I am the snowflake that kisses your nose. I am the frost that will bring you cool. I am the sun bringing you light. I am the star shining so bright. I am the rain refreshing the earth. I am the laughter. I am the mirth. I am the star up in the sky, and you can see me at night, and I am the cloud that's drifting by. I am the thoughts inside your head, and while I'm still here, I can't be dead. Her essence will always be with us. There is a mindsa, a little story, and I don't know if it's true, but I like to think it is. And that is that after a person dies, their soul kind of stays right around for a week or two to kind of check out how the family and friends are doing, and if they are recovering from the loss, and if they are going to say wonderful things to each other to care for one another. And so I hope that's true. And if it is, then she is right here with us today, loving all of you. We have in our booklets, we have the 23rd Psalm, which we will read together. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. And I told you what Maxine would say. I'm going to read something to you that the family might say, and before the service is over, I will read to you something that they actually did say and sent to me so I could read it to all of you. But this is something that they might have said. Death has separated us. You are no longer at our side to share the beauty of the passing moment. We no longer can look to you to lighten our burdens, to lend us your strength, your wisdom, and your faith. And yet, what you mean to us does not wither or fade. For a time we touched hands and hearts. Still your voice abides within us. Still, your tender glance remains a joy to us, for you are part of us forever. Something of you has become a song upon our lips. And so, beyond the ache that tells us how much we miss you, a deeper thought compels. We were all together. We hold you still in mind and give thanks for your life and your love. The happiness that was, the memories that will not fade, are a gift that cannot be lost. You continue to bless our days and our years. We will always give thanks to you. And now I want to share. Often there are several readings. I don't have several readings. I have one or two more. But because the family and the friends told me so many stories about her, I couldn't write fast enough from the beautiful things that they were saying. I have never heard so many beautiful things about only one person. I can't remember the names of all the people who told me what, because I was writing frantically. So forgive me if I don't summarize completely, but we know we are talking about greatness here. The friends told me how kind, how wonderful, and how beautiful Maxine was, both inside and out, and still how humble she was. I think there are not enough words in the dictionary to describe the depth of pure feeling that her family and friends had for her. Her death is a loss to all of us, and I think her death is a loss to the world as well. Some of her friends said she was a constant friend. Her conversations were always enriching, helpful, deep, and fun. Her friendship meant everything to so many people. She was so wise, so helpful, so generous of spirit, so willing to help. She gave the best and the most general advice. One friend said that they went to the same Mexican restaurant every 6 weeks. They never tired of being there, nor did they ever tire of being together. They just talked and talked and talked all the time. She was kind to friends and to strangers. She never made fun of anyone, nor did she ever laugh at anyone. She had an effect on everyone because she was so sweet and so gently caring. That was the essence of her life, and she was always a peacemaker. Another person said she was sweet, beautiful, loving, caring. She thought every person was good. She never had a bad day. She wanted to bring people together to be happy. She was God's angel on earth. Another person, she was my confidant in high school, a fabulous friend, amazingly wise. Her most important concern in her life was first her family, then her friends, and then all the people that her friends cared about were also her friends. And she never spoke a negative word about anyone. She adored her own mother and emulated her. And I believe that Maxine's children do the same. She went down, the only bad thing I can say about her is that she went down to Florida on a teacup ride and she got sick. But she never complained about it. She just took it as it was. And then another thing that she did that wasn't so bad, she took the L to downtown Chicago with friends to eat rum fudge balls. And that was something that we'll always remember, and maybe one day we'll all go down there and have some rum fudge balls. She came from a family that didn't have a lot of money. Her dad was a milkman, but they had lots of love. She went to Hibbard School, then to Van Steuben. I spoke to Earl today, and he told me when they got married, they also had little money. They met when they were 16 and 17 years old. They lived kind of in a fourth-floor walk-up when they were first married. The heat was turned off in the evening, so there was no heat in the apartment, and they wore the warmest things they had to sleep, and they put their clothes for the next day on the radiator. And they turned the heat on in the building about 6 o'clock in the morning so that the clothes were warm enough for them to put on in the morning. Otherwise, I'm not sure what they would have done. And Maxine would get up and literally dance around the room because now it was a little bit warmer. Nothing seemed to get her down. She was always happy. They finally moved into a small house, and Earl said, "We don't have a lot of money. We don't even have money for drapes." She said, "No problem. Go to the store and get a bunch of newspapers, and then we'll put all the newspapers on the windows, and that will be beautiful." She always saw the bright side of everything. And Earl also said she just worried about me. She was amazing always. Maxine went to college and became a 3rd or 4th grade teacher. She loved her students. Like no teacher loves their students like this. Sometimes she would bring her students home to sleep over at her house. And sometimes she would buy them presents. And she worried about them all the time. But she only worked until her kids were born. And then she devoted the rest of her life to taking care of her family. She loved each person in her family. One day she said to Romi, "You know, I need to give you some advice. It's okay if you don't want to listen, but it's my job as your mother to advise you as best I can, and then the rest is up to you." She also befriended all the friends of her children. The joke was that everyone said they wanted to come back someday as one of Maxine's children. I asked what she worried about, and the family told me she only worried about her health and her kids. Billy shared that when his first wife died, she wanted to bring him something special, so she bought him a bunch of shirts. She always thought, we're not sure why, but it seemed like a thing that would lighten his spirit. She always thought of things to do for family and friends that would make them smile. And then Audrey said it was so wonderful the way Maxine accepted her into the family with such open arms. Maxine made her feel so welcome. If someone came into her house and said they needed something, Maxine would say, "Hey, let's go look in the closet. I'm sure we'll find something." The grandchildren, Frankie and Charlie, agreed that Maxine was always there for them. She was wise, calm, and loving. She loved books, and she would read to them or tell them stories, or she sang lullabies to them before she tucked them into bed at night. And when she died, Romi sang the same lullaby to her that she had sung to her children all those many nights. She would pick them up at the bus stop and sometimes carry them into the house. The kids said that she was compassionate, caring, and had great strength in times of adversity. The family shared that she wrote songs, celebrated the big and small moments in life, and then everyone would sing, "Put your foot on the la-la pedal." When Maxine was first sick, I understand she made bracelets for her friends, and they all wore them. She was a mentor to so many children and so many adults. When Danica was little, she always had a stuffed animal with her. One day in a restaurant, when Mameem saw her toy, Danica dropped it and the tutu fell in some soup. Mameem quickly grabbed it along with Danica, ran into the washroom, and saved the tutu. And I understand that Danica still has that precious tutu, which is now clean. I spent a few minutes with Darci yesterday. She said her mom was strikingly beautiful, physically beautiful, and strangers would stop her and say, "You are the most beautiful woman in the world." It wasn't a big deal to Maxine. Her handwriting was beautiful. Her blintzes were the best in the world. But everything that was about her, she was always humble about those things and said, "It's just really okay. It's just really okay." She appreciated everything her family did. Charlie liked wrestling, so she went to wrestling matches. Maybe not her first choice, but what she did with joy because he was there. Darci went on to say, "I love museums. We went to the downtown museum to see the Jackie Onassis exhibit. The clothes, the dresses, the hats. I was fascinated. And Maxine was willing and happy and excited to share my museum love with me. She was totally empathetic. She loved my friend Peter, too, and they went to the Amish country together, and I think they bought some furniture for her house there. Is that right? Yes, they did. I remember she once said, Maxine said, "Be careful, don't ever judge people by their worst moments." And she was so diplomatic. She didn't see the world in terms of black and white. She saw the world in terms of gray. Everything was gray, and there would always be two sides to every issue. She would always understand, appreciate, and respect other people's viewpoints. One friend shared, "What really impressed me was her honesty, her openness, and the boundless sense of fun, even wonderful silliness. She was always selfless. Excuse me. She had great tenacity. I think of her courage, her silliness, her love for her family, her grandchildren, and her friends. Each of these qualities is a quality that we should all try to emulate, and we should know these qualities that we will have because of her. And every time that each one of you is courageous or silly or fun-loving or independent or conciliatory or wise or gentle, quietly look up and say, 'Thank you, Maxine. You showed me the way.'" I could go on and on listing the beautiful things that the family and friends said about her. But as I told you, I couldn't write fast enough. But I must share the last question that I asked her children and the answer that I received. I said, "Having a mother like you had will make moving on more difficult, but I know you all have the strength to do that. My question is, how do you do it?" And the answer, Jimmy said, "My sisters and I are as close as you can get because of the way my mother raised us. We will always take care of each other." All of the things that I was told in the last 2 days make me wonder if Maxine was a Lamed Vavnik. There is a tradition in Judaism that at any time in this world there are at least 36 righteous people, and their job is to save the world from destruction. Each one of those Lamed Vavniks, the 36 righteous, is kind, gentle, they don't gossip, they listen carefully, they respect everyone, they help people succeed, and they are humble. They say this will save the world from destruction. We will never know, of course, but I think that maybe, just maybe, we all knew one of those 36 righteous people. And finally, I want to read a poem that Darci and Romi wrote for Maxine and Jimmy. It expresses their love, their appreciation, and their understanding of Maxine's mission in life. "I never had to wish for someone to understand me because you always did. I never had to wish for a friend to stand by me because you were always there. I never had to wish for more attention because you were always watching. I never had to wish for someone to help me because you always held my hand. I never had to wish for someone to protect me because you always stood strong. I never had to wish for help to figure out a problem because you always had the answer. I never had to wish for joy and love because you always filled my heart. The only thing I wish for is more time because you were the most amazing person who ever lived." And there's one more reading that I want to share with you before we close and before we say Kaddish. It's called The Dash, and some of you may have heard about it, and it's a word of advice to everyone. I got that idea from Maxine, who always gave advice. It's written by Linda Ellis, and she said, I read of a man who stood to speak at the funeral of a friend. He referred to the dates on her tombstone from the beginning to the end. He noted that first came the date of birth and spoke the following date with tears. But he said that what matters most was the dash between those years. For that dash represents all the time they spent on earth, and now only those who loved him know what that little line is worth. For it matters not how much we own, the cars, the house, the cash. What matters is how we live and love and how we spend our dash. So, all of you think about this long and hard. Are there things you would like to change? For you never know how much time is left that can still be rearranged. So please be less quick to anger and show appreciation more, and love the people in your lives like you've never loved before. Treat each other with respect and more often wear a smile, remembering that this special dash might only last a little while. So when your eulogy is being read, with your life's actions to rehash, would you be proud of the things they say about how you lived your dash? That reading tells us to live every day for the fullest. Live for this moment that you have right now. Appreciate your simple joys in life that are right in front of you. Be grateful for everything that you have, our family, our friends, our health. Take time to realize how many things in your life that you have that you're thankful for. Cherish every moment that you have with your loved ones. Be kind to others and give back when you can. It's important to live every day because any day we know can be our last. So, how are you living your dash? Live for today and let this poem remind you to live, love, and make the most of your dash. And now we need to stand for El Malay Rachamim, and then we will all say Kaddish together if we can. If you can't stand, that's okay. El Malay Rachamim, Shochen B'Romav. God, full of mercy, who dwells above, give rest on the wings of the divine presence, amongst the holy, pure, and glorious, who shine like the sky, to the soul of Maxine Goldenberg, for whom this prayer was offered in the memory of her soul. The merciful one will protect her soul forever and will merge her soul with eternal life. The everlasting is her heritage, and she shall rest peacefully at her lying place. And let us say, Amen. I know that Maxine would have wanted this day to be a celebration of her life, not glum, not sad. And I found one reading by a woman named Ilsa Richardson. It says, when I leave you with whom I love, grieve not, nor speak of me with tears, but laugh and talk about me as if I were there beside you. And when you hear a song and see a bird that I loved, let the thought of me not be sad, because I'm loving you just as I always had. You were so good to me. And remember, I didn't fear death. I was ready. It was just that leaving you was so hard to face. We can't see beyond. But this you should know. I loved you, and it was heaven here on earth to be with each of you. Kaddish, if you can say it with me, that's fine. If not, that's okay too. The Kaddish, incidentally, doesn't have the word death in it. It only speaks about the greatness of God. Thank you. And we say together, Yit Gadal v'Yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah v'Alma Divrach Hirutei v'Yamlich Malchutei v'Chayachon uv'Yomechon uv'Chayei Dekol Beit Yisrael ba'Agala uv'Izman Kariv Yimru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Muvarach le'olam u'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei d'kudsha brichu le'elah min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran v'alma v'yamru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mamav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. And now, as we lower the casket, Opal is going to come up and she's going to sing Avinu Malkeinu.
Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Katanu Lefenecha. Avinu Malkeinu, Kamo Alenu, V'yaul Alenu, V'tapenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Deve, V'chevera Me'alenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Kale Kosar, Umuasti Me'alenu. Avinu Malkeinu, Avinu Malkeinu, Kovenu b'sefer chaim tovim. Avinu Malkeinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Kadesh Aleinu, Shana Tova. Avinu Malkeinu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu, Shema Kolenu.
And now, Miss Staple will sing Amazing Grace. And when the casket is fully lowered, we will have one more task to do. And that is to take some earth and put it on the casket. And then the people from the cemetery will fill the rest of it. The reason that we do this, it's the one mitzvah obligation that we have to help another person, for which you will never be given an opportunity to get it back, because she won't help you again. So this is like a great lesson for all of us, that sometimes we do things for other people that other people won't return, and that's okay. It's even good. And so that, therefore, we help to put the casket, get the casket ready for burial. And so we will, I think, yeah, we are, thank you very much. You in the back can't sit down. Okay, and now Amazing Grace, and then all of you can come up as soon as this is ready to put the earth on the casket, and then we can depart.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that had saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see.
People often shovel 3 shovels full of earth. There isn't a particular reason, except some of the rabbis say if you shovel 1 shovelful, it might be an accident. If you shovel 2 shovels full, maybe it's still an accident. If you shovel 3, then you know for sure that it's intentional. So we know it's intentional no matter how many shovels full you do.
Your friend who's not with us anymore, you said grow up. I like shoes in kindergarten after milk every day.
It's a wonderful, how he goes. It's a wonderful group.
West side.
I would just like to announce before we end the live stream portion of the service that the Shiva will be at the Claskin residence at 2255 Eggendale Road in Highland Park today from 5 to 8 p.m. And for all of you present here at the cemetery, you're invited to a luncheon at the Claskin residence, again at the 2255 Eggendale Road in Highland Park, just following the service today. All this information is listed in your service folder and also online, so if you did not receive one, please see me after this service. Thank you.